In the year 2391, Earth had become strong and respected in the galaxy. It was part of the Galactic Council, a group of alien species that promised peace and order. Humans had worked hard to earn their place. They had built ships, made friends with aliens, and shared their science. But not all members of the Council liked Earth's fast progress. Captain Laura Bennett returned to Earth from a long mission. Her ship, the Liberty Star, had been near the edge of Council space. She had seen strange things. Council ships had been watching Earth colonies more closely. There were secret meetings between Council leaders. Some patrols acted like Earth was already an enemy. She knew something was wrong. Back on Earth, Nathan Carter, Earth's voice in the Council, sat in his office. He looked tired. A message had come to him through a secret channel. It was from an alien called Krell. Krell was once part of the Council security team. Now he was hiding. Krell warned him that the Council had made a plan to attack Earth. He said Earth would be blamed for crimes it did not do. Nathan did not want to believe it. He had trusted the Council for years. He called a meeting with the Earth President, Linda Monroe. She listened to him and then asked for more proof. Earth had enemies before, but this felt different. Soon after, the Council held a special meeting. Earth was accused of harming a peaceful alien race near the Talon sector. They showed pictures and reports. The evidence looked real, but Nathan knew it was fake. Earth had not sent ships to that area in months. Still, the Council demanded that Earth give up all its weapons and leaders. If not, the Council would remove Earth from the galaxy forever. President Monroe met with her closest advisors. The news shocked the world. People could not believe the Council, who promised peace, now wanted war. Monroe ordered all colonies to prepare for defense. She called back all ships. Earth was not going to surrender. Meanwhile, Captain Laura sat with her crew in orbit above Earth. Her second officer, Jake, looked at her. "Do you think they'll really attack us?" he asked. Laura nodded slowly. "I saw it in their eyes. They want us gone." Jake frowned. "But why? We followed the rules. We helped them." "Maybe we grew too strong," Laura said. "Maybe they fear us." Nathan Carter worked day and night. He tried to talk to Council members he once called friends. Most did not answer. Some gave short replies and then ended the call. A few looked sad, like they had no choice. One night, a coded message arrived. It was from Krell again. He sent files hidden deep inside Council systems. Nathan gave the files to Earth Intelligence. The head of that group, Scott Morgan, began to study them. Scott and his team worked without sleep. They found signs of changes in the files. Dates were changed. Videos were edited. It was all fake. The Council had made Earth look like a monster. Scott met with President Monroe. "We found the truth," he said. "This was planned. They want our land, our science, our future." Monroe stood up. Her face was hard. "Then we will show them that Earth does not fall." She called Admiral Grace Turner, head of the Earth Defense Fleet. She told her to prepare all ships. Earth was going to fight, not because it wanted war, but because it had no other choice. Laura was called to lead a mission. She was to take a small team into Council space. Her goal was to get more proof, real proof that the Council planned this. She picked her best crew: Jake, her second officer; Nora, her pilot; Eli, her tech expert; and Ron, a quiet man who was good with maps and codes. The ship flew in the dark quiet part of space. They moved fast and stayed hidden. They reached a small moon with a council base. Inside, they found a tower that held communications. Eli cracked the code. Ron found the right files. They copied everything. Then an alarm rang. Guards came. The team fought their way out. Nora flew the ship fast through narrow rocks. They got out just in time. Back on Earth, the files were studied. They showed everything. Plans to take Earth's land. Maps showing how the Council would break Earth into parts. Talks between leaders about how Earth had become too powerful. President Monroe looked at the files. "Now we know," she said. "They never wanted peace." The people of Earth saw the truth. They were angry. They were ready. Ships were built faster. Colonies armed themselves. Scientists began work on new weapons. Soldiers trained. Earth was no longer waiting. The betrayal had woken something deep in them, and in the sky above, the stars watched silently as the fire of war began to burn. President Lyndon Monroe stood at the center of the command room. Her eyes moved across the large screen showing different parts of Earth and its colonies. The Council had not attacked yet, but everyone knew it could happen at any moment. She turned to her team. "We need more than words now," she said. "We need to show the truth to the whole galaxy." Scott Morgan, the head of Earth Intelligence, nodded. "The files we got prove the Council made false evidence. But we need more. We need something so clear that no one can doubt it." Captain Laura Bennett stood beside him. "Then let me go back," she said. "We can find the original records. If we get those, the Council can't hide anymore." Monroe looked at her for a long time. "It's dangerous, but I agree. You'll have full support." Laura returned to her ship, the Liberty Star. Her crew was already waiting. Jake, Nora, Eli, and Ron were ready. They knew the risks. Still, no one turned away. They left Earth quickly and quietly. Their target was a data center deep inside Council space. The place was well protected. It was not built for fighting, but it had strong walls and high security. Laura and her team landed on a small moon nearby and used a shuttle to sneak inside. Eli worked on breaking the security system. Ron used a map he had found in the Council records to find the shortest path. They moved through dark halls, hiding from guards. Finally, they reached the control room. It was full of glowing screens and metal walls. Jake kept watch while Eli copied the records. He found videos and messages that showed the Council leaders planning the attack. They spoke of how Earth had grown too fast, how they feared Earth would one day lead the Council. They wanted to stop that future before it began. "We have it," Eli whispered. "This is the truth." Just then, an alarm rang. The team ran. Guards followed, but Nora was fast. She guided the team through side doors and old tunnels. They reached the shuttle and flew back to their ship. Laura sent the new files to Earth. President Monroe called a meeting of world leaders. They saw the truth with their own eyes. The Council had lied. They had planned everything. News spread fast. Earth sent messages to neutral species in the galaxy. Some of them were surprised. Others had long believed the Council was not as peaceful as it claimed. One small race, the Kalari, agreed to help Earth. They gave them secret paths through space and information on Council weapons. Back on Earth, Admiral Grace Turner led the fleet. She ordered more ships to be built. Engineers worked day and night. A new type of ship was finished. It was fast, strong, and smart. It used new AI systems that could learn during battle. Scott Morgan found more clues. One council leader, known as Betrayal, had played a large part in the plan. He had offered Earth's land to other species in exchange for support. Scott shared this with Monroe. Betrayal must be stopped, Scott said. He will not stop until Earth is gone. Monroe agreed. She ordered a plan to target Betrayal's base. It was hidden on a cold planet called Vexa. Laura's team was sent again. This time, the mission was clear. Stop Betrayal and destroy his data center. The Liberty Star flew undercover. They landed far from the base and walked through snow and wind. The cold cut through their suits, but they moved forward. Ron found the door hidden behind ice. Eli hacked it open. Inside they found guards waiting. A fight broke out. Nora took cover and fired back. Jake led the way, using smoke to block the enemy's view. They reached the command room. Betrayal was there, shouting at his officers. Laura stepped forward. You planned to destroy Earth. Now you'll answer for it. Betrayal laughed. You're too late. The Council will erase your world. But Eli had already started a system crash. The files were destroyed. The base shook as small bombs planted by Ron exploded. The team escaped just before the base went down. Back on Earth, the people cheered. Betrayal's base was gone. His lies were no longer safe. President Monroe spoke to the people. We will not fall. We will not give in to fear. The Council betrayed us, but we stand together. Earth's message was clear. They would not wait for another attack. They would protect their home, their colonies, and their future. Ships gathered near the moon. Soldiers trained in the fields. Families sent messages to loved ones on far colonies. Everyone knew what was coming. And high above, the stars waited, silent watchers to the fire that would soon spread through the galaxy. The sky above Earth turned red as the sun set over the capital. Ships flew through the clouds, leaving lines of light. They were not for show. They were warships, ready for battle. The Council had started attacks on small Earth colonies. Reports came in of bombed farms, broken buildings, and missing people. President Monroe stood with Admiral Grace Turner in the command center. Monroe looked at the screen showing burning colonies. We cannot wait, she said. We must strike back. Admiral. Turner nodded. We are ready. The fleet has new weapons, stronger shields, and the AI systems are learning fast. The Earth Defense Fleet moved out. Ships with long silver bodies and dark blue marks flew in rows. Their engines made no sound in space, but their presence shook the stars. Captain Laura Bennett stood on the bridge of the Liberty Star. She looked calm, but her hands were tight on the rail. This is not about revenge, she said. It's about survival. Jake, her second officer, stood beside her. We're ready, Captain. We follow you. The fleet moved toward the Alcaraz Belt. There, a large Council strike force was gathering. They had already taken over to Earth colonies. Laura's mission was to stop them before they reached more. As they entered the belt, rocks floated around them. It was not easy space to fly through, but the AI systems helped guide the ships. They dodged the rocks and kept formation. Soon, the enemy ships appeared. They were round and dark, like giant bugs in space. They fired first. Red beams shot across. The Belt Earth ships moved fast and fired back. Laura gave her orders clearly. Split into 3 groups. Hit from the sides. Target their command ship. Nora, the pilot, turned to Liberty Star hard. Beams missed by inches. Eli used the new weapon system. Blue light shot out and hit an enemy ship. It broke into dot. Ron gave updates. They're losing control. Their ships are confused. Our AI is faster. Earth's ships hit hard. They moved like a school of fish, fast and smart. The Council ships were not ready for such speed. One by one, their ships exploded. After hours of fighting, silence returned. Earth had won. The Battle of Alcaraz Belt was over. The Council fleet was gone. Back on Earth, cheers filled the streets. People saw the news on screens. Earth had struck back and won. But Monroe knew this was only the beginning. In secret labs, Earth scientists worked on something new. It was called the Titan Protocol. It was not a weapon like others. It was a weapon that could destroy whole planets. Monroe did not want to use it, but she knew they might have no choice. Scott Morgan continued his search for more truth. He followed secret signals and found messages from a Council base on the planet Geryon. There, the Council was working on a weapon of its own. Laura's team was sent again. They landed on Geryon at night. The sky was green and the air was thick. They moved fast through the jungle. Ron found a path to the lab. Inside, they saw machines building something large. Files showed it was a mind control device. The Council wanted to take control of Earth's people instead of just destroying them. Eli set bombs while Nora watched the door. Jake found more files and sent them to Earth. Laura gave the signal, and they escaped just before the lab exploded. Back on the ship, Laura looked at the files. They don't just want to win, they want to own us. Monroe saw the same thing. She called a meeting of all Earth leaders. The Council will not stop, she said. We must show them we will never bow. Admiral Turner gave the order. Earth launched more strikes. This time, they hit deeper into Council space. They used the AI systems to outsmart the enemy. They hit shipyards, supply lines, and command posts. Other species began to watch closely. Some sent messages to Earth. A few offered help. The shared maps. The Tauran gave supplies. Earth was no longer alone. The Council started to break inside. Some leaders began to argue. A few wanted to stop the war. Others wanted to strike Earth harder. Scott Morgan found proof of a split inside the Council. One group had planned the attack from the start. They wanted power, not peace. The rest had followed out of fear. Monroe saw a chance. She sent messages to those who wanted peace. Join us, she said. Stand for truth. Help us end the lies. Some listened. A few even gave secret data. Earth used this to plan their next move. Operation Phoenix was born. It would be the largest attack Earth had ever done. They would strike at the heart of the Council. As ships gathered for the mission, people watched the sky. They knew what was coming. Captain Laura stood on the bridge, her crew around her. We are not just fighting for Earth, she said. We are fighting for every voice they tried to silence. We fight so no one else will face this again. And with that, the fleet moved forward, leaving behind a world full of hope and fire, heading into the stars to finish what had begun with betrayal. Asterisk, the stars above were quiet, but war was coming. Earth had made its choice. It would not wait. It would strike the Council at its heart. Operation Phoenix was ready. The plan was simple. Attack the Council's command centers and end their control. But it had to be fast. If the Council regrouped, the war would last for years. President Monroe stood in front of the world. Her voice was calm but strong. "This is the moment," she said. "We will not hide. We will not kneel. We rise today to protect not just Earth, but every free world." Earth's ships launched from the moon base. They flew in silence through the dark. At their head was Captain Laura Bennett and her crew. The Liberty Star led the first wave. Their target was the Council's main communication center on the planet. LSR, if they could destroy it, the Council would lose contact with many fleets. It would give Earth the upper hand. The Liberty Star reached LSR. The planet was dry, with red rocks and thin air. The base sat in the middle of a mountain ring. High walls and towers stood guard. Laura looked at the screen. Begin silent approach. Shut down outside lights. The ship moved like a shadow. Inside, Jake read the sensors. No sign we've been seen. Nora moved the ship down behind the hills. The team got ready. Eli packed the explosives. Ron studied the map again. They would go through the old tunnels under the mountain. The team left the ship and walked in silence. The ground was rough. The air was thin. They entered the tunnels. The old metal walls were cold. Their lights showed the way. Ron led them. He had found the path in stolen council files. It took them under the main tower. They climbed a ladder and reached a small room. From there, they could hear voices. Laura gave the signal. Eli set the charges. Jake checked the door. They moved fast. The door opened. Guards turned in shock. Laura fired first. The team spread out. Eli shouted, "Charges are set. We have 10 minutes." They ran back into the tunnel. More guards followed. Nora used smoke bombs to block the path. Shots rang out, but they reached the end and jumped out into the night. The tower exploded behind them. Fire lit up the sky. The Council's main voice had gone silent from space. Earth ships saw the blast. Admiral Grace Turner gave the next order. "Strike, now, while they are blind." Earth fleets hit Council shipyards. They attacked fuel stations and command outposts. The Council tried to fight back, but they were slow. Their orders were late. Their plans were broken. Back on Earth, Scott Morgan worked with alien allies. The Kalari sent more data. The Turin offered to help protect colonies. A third race, the Varnok, sent warships to join the fight. Scott looked at the reports. The Council is cracking. They don't trust each other anymore. President Monroe saw her chance. She sent a message to the leaders still loyal to the Council. "You were lied to," she said. "Join us now. Help us stop the ones who want to rule with fear." Some listened. One group, led by a council member named Sarek, agreed to meet in secret. Laura's team was sent to protect the meeting. They landed on a quiet moon. The air was cold and clean. Sarek arrived with his guards. He looked tired but calm. "I never wanted this war," he said, "but I was afraid to speak. Now I see we have no choice." He gave Earth more secrets. A hidden base was being used to build. A new weapon. It could burn whole cities from orbit. It had to be destroyed. Admiral Turner made the plan. Laura's team would go in first and shut down the base's shield. Then the fleet would strike. The base was hidden in the clouds of a gas giant. The team used small ships to get close. They wore suits with shields to protect them from the pressure. Ron found the entry point. They entered through a vent and moved. Through tight halls, inside, they saw the weapon. It looked like a long black spear pointed at the sky. Eli placed the charges. Jake found the shield controls. Nora held the door. When the shield dropped, Earth's fleet fired from space. Beams of light hit the base. It cracked and fell into the gas clouds below. The team escaped just in time. The enemy weapon was gone. The Council was losing fast. Its ships were scattered. Its leaders were divided. Some begged for peace. Others tried to escape. A few still fought, but they were outnumbered. Scott found one last secret. A group of council leaders had planned the betrayal from the start. They had names, faces, and messages. It was proof of the crime. President Monroe shared it with the galaxy. These are the ones who broke the peace. They must be judged. Laura and her team were sent to find them. They found the leaders hiding on a moon far from the council world. The team moved in. There was a short fight. The leaders were captured. The council began to fall. World after world pulled away. Some asked to join Earth's new alliance. Others chose to stay neutral. Back on Earth, Monroe looked out over the city. People were rebuilding. The stars above were quiet, but everyone knew what was coming. The final battle was near. Earth had struck back. The council was broken, but its last stronghold remained. The citadel stood on the planet LSR Prime. It was a huge city built with metal towers and thick walls. Inside, the last council leaders waited. President Monroe gave the order. We end it now. No more running, no more fear. We bring peace by finishing what they began. The Earth fleet moved like a wave. Hundreds of ships flew toward LSR Prime. At the front was the Liberty Star. Captain Laura Bennett stood on the bridge. Her eyes were sharp. Her crew stood ready. Jake looked at the screen. Defenses are strong. They have turrets and shield walls. Laura nodded. We break the wall, then we land. The fight ends on the ground. The fleet reached the edge of the planet's space. Council ships flew up to meet them. The two sides clashed. Red and blue lights crossed the sky. Explosions shook. The darkness. Earth's new AI systems worked fast. They moved ships in and out, dodging beams and hitting targets. The Council ships fought hard, but they could not match Earth's speed. Admiral Grace Turner gave her order. Hit the shield generators. Open a path to the city. Laura's ship moved low over the ground. Eli found the weak point in the shield. Nora flew through enemy fire. Ron launched a special bomb that cracked the shield wall. The city was now open. Dropships flew down. Soldiers ran out and moved through the city. The council guards fired from towers, but Earth forces moved fast. They knew this was the last battle. Laura's team landed in the city center. They had one goal: find the last council leaders and bring them to justice. They moved through streets filled with smoke and broken metal. People hid in buildings. Some ran, others watched in silence. They had lived under fear too long. Eli pointed. There in the central tower, Jake led the way. They climbed stairs and passed locked doors. Guards stood at the top. A short fight broke out. Laura fired. Nora used smoke cover. They reached the main room. Inside, the last council leaders stood around a table. One stepped forward. His name was Velen. He was old, with deep lines on his face. You have destroyed the order, Velen said. The galaxy will fall into chaos. Laura answered, you brought this. You lied, you killed, and you thought we would bow. Velen shook his head. You are nothing without us. We are stronger without you, Laura said. Jake moved in and placed cuffs on Velen. The others raised their hands. It was over. The leaders were taken away. Outside, the city fell quiet. Earth's flag flew over the towers. Ships landed to help the people. Food and water were shared. The war was ending. Back on Earth, President Monroe stood before a crowd. People watched from homes, streets, and ships. "We did not ask for war," she said, "but we did not run from it. Today, we bring a new beginning. The old ways are gone. We build a future where no world lives in fear." She looked at the screen where the citadel now stood empty. Let this place be a lesson. Peace must be built on truth, not control. The galaxy watched. Many planets sent messages of hope. Some asked to join Earth's new alliance. Others offered help to rebuild. Laura and her team walked through the quiet halls of the citadel. They saw old banners torn down. Ron picked up one and folded it. "The war is over," he said. Nora nodded. "But the work is just beginning." Eli looked out a broken window. "We held the line. We didn't break." Jake smiled. "We showed them who we are." Laura looked at her crew. "We did more than fight. We proved that truth matters, that people matter." They walked back to the Liberty. Star, the ship rose into the sky. It flew past the towers and into the stars. In the days that followed, trials were held. The council leaders were judged by many worlds. Their crimes were shown to all. Justice was served. Earth began to rebuild. Ships returned to broken colonies. New homes were built. Children laughed again. The sky was full of light, not fire. The Earth Alliance grew. It was made of humans and aliens. It promised peace through truth, not fear. People from many worlds worked together. President Monroe led the first council meeting of the new alliance. She looked at the faces around her. They were young, old, human and alien. "We rise from the ashes," she said. "We are no longer alone." Captain Laura Bennett was given the highest honor, but she said no words. She only smiled and looked at her crew. They had faced war. They had faced betrayal. But they had never stopped fighting for what was right. And now, in the quiet of space, Earth stood tall. Not just as a world, but as a voice for all who believed. In peace and truth. The stars no longer watched in silence. They watched with hope. The Earth fleet returned from the ashes of war. Their ships were damaged, but their will was strong. Commander Luke stood on the deck of the battleship Valor. His face was tired, but his eyes still burned with the fire of purpose. The council had not spoken since the battle. They stayed silent in their golden towers, hidden from the pain they had caused. Earth had sent many messages, but none were answered. So now, the leaders of Earth came together to decide what would come next. In the main hall of the Earth Defense Base, Luke met with Captain Nora, General Blake, and Dr. Ellen. The room was quiet when Luke entered. No one smiled. There was no reason to. Nora broke the silence. "We won the battle, but not the war. The Council still controls the core systems, and they still have allies." Blake leaned forward. "We can strike their supply lines. They will not last long without fuel and metal." Dr. Ellen shook her head. "That would hurt the colonies. The people will suffer." Luke nodded. "We do not want more death. We want the truth. We want justice. But the Council does not understand peace. They only understand power." A soldier rushed into the room. "Commander, we just received a signal. It is from a Council envoy." Everyone stood still. Luke said, "Play the message." The screen lit up. A gray-skinned alien appeared. His eyes were dark and cold. He spoke in a slow voice. We know you seek justice. We offer you a seat at the table. Join us, and let us rebuild the peace." The message ended. The room stayed silent for a moment. Blake growled, "Peace." After what they did, Dr. Ellen whispered, "Maybe it is a trap." Luke turned to them. "They want to delay us. They are weak now. They fear we will end their rule." Nora said, "What do we do?" Luke looked at all of them. "We send our answer, not in words, but in actions." He stepped out of the hall and gave the order. The Earth fleet split into 3 groups. One moved to protect the colonies, one moved to cut off the Council's outer defenses, and one, led by Luke himself, moved toward the Council's homeworld. The journey was long. As they passed dead moons and broken stations, the crew spoke less and less. They knew this mission could be their last. One night, Luke walked the lower decks. He saw soldiers cleaning weapons, engineers fixing broken parts, and young pilots writing letters to their families. He saw no fear in their eyes, only calm and purpose. On the bridge, Nora stood watching the stars. "Do you think we'll survive?" She asked. Luke replied, "It does not matter. What matters is that they know they cannot betray Earth and hide behind words." The next day, they reached the edge of the Council's space. Large defense platforms waited for them. Dozens of ships formed a wall. Luke looked at the screen. "Send them one message, one sentence." The crew waited. He said, "Tell them, Earth remembers." The message was sent. The Council ships did not reply. They charged their weapons. Luke gave the final order. "All ships, move forward." The sky lit up with fire. Missiles flew. Lasers cut across space. Fighters danced between explosions. The Earth ships moved like one body, strong and fast. Nora led the second wave, flying low to dodge fire. Blake's heavy cruisers broke through the enemy wall. The Council defenses fell one by one. Luke's ship reached the heart of the enemy fleet. The Council flagship, tall and gold, opened fire. The Valar shook as it was hit, but it kept moving. Luke stood tall, lock on fire. The Valar's main cannon roared. A beam of light cut through space and hit the Council flagship. It broke apart in silence. The battle lasted for hours. In the end, the Council fleet was gone. Some ships tried to escape, but Earth's fighters chased them down. After the last enemy ship was gone, the screen showed silence. Smoke and metal floated in the dark. Luke said, "Set course for their planet." They moved toward the Council homeworld. As they entered orbit, the cities below went dark. No ships rose to meet them. The Council had fallen. Luke sent a message to all systems. The war is over. The traitors have paid. Earth stands free. Across the stars, people cheered. On colony worlds, workers dropped their tools and cried. In space stations, soldiers hugged each other. The fear was gone. Back on Earth, children watched the news. Elders smiled for the first time in years. But Luke did not smile. He stood alone on the deck of the Valar, watching the Council world below. He knew victory always came at a price. He knew the faces of those who had not returned. Nora joined him. "What now?" she asked. Luke said, "Now we rebuild, not just cities, but trust." She nodded, and the stars. Luke looked out at the black sky. "The stars are waiting. We will go to them, but we will go as people who remember. We will go as people who do not kneel." She smiled. Together, he nodded. Together, the ship turned and left the dead world behind. The stars watched in silence. Earth had won. But more than that, Earth had spoken. No more betrayal, no more fear. The message was clear: do not betray Earth.